By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Hello, everyone. My name is Donovan, and I work for Odoo, obviously, here. And we're gonna use a topic here to discuss, which is linked to the quote: how to organize your project with Odoo. Whether you work in construction or your consultancy company or any other industries, we all had to handle projects at one moment in our life, and we all had the same issues at one point. Here are the three main issues that I got from most of my clients before they went to Odoo, and these are, for example, how do I manage my workforce? How am I sure that everyone is doing correctly their job? And how do I know that this week these people are working on this specific project? So the who does what. The second thing is, as a manager or a director, what can happen quite often is you want to have a quick overview. You don't have the time to go into details within the task. Really taking your time regarding that. You just want the information quickly. Is the project healthy or not? Is everything going fine? Are my people working way too much or not? And those are information you can get quite quickly with Odoo. The third thing, which is one of the biggest headache that most of my clients has, is the planning itself. Having a Gantt view or even do your planning might seem like something cumbersome, something that is not as useful as it should be given the amount of time that you spend on it. With Odoo, you will be still able to do your Gantt view, but in a quicker manner, which makes it also easier for every one of your employees, but also every one of your managers. So let's see three of the different views that you're going to get with Odoo, and then we're going to start with different examples. Here's the first view where, as a manager and a director, I will be able to see every one of my projects quite easily here. I can also see the state of the project. Is there any issues with that? I can see the numbers of hours spent as well on the project and all of the tasks related to that. The second view is more for your employees, which can be quite important as well in their day-to-day work. And that is a view where you can see every task that needs to be done in what we call a Kanban view, which is quite easily, where you can get your information quite easily here. So I can easily see who has to do which task. I can also see how many hours my manager or my director has allocated for that task. So I'll try my best not to go overboard. And I can also see everything that has been done before. The third view is for your director, which in one view can directly see, okay, is the project going well or not. On your left, you will have all the reports done by the project manager about his own project, saying, okay, this is my progress. This is also the different issues that I have. I might need your help, director. On your right, you will see every culmination of data on about Odoo regarding that project, meaning that we can see everything that has been purchased regarding this project. We can see the numbers of hours that were planned. We can also see the milestone, which is quite important because the milestones are the different goals that you have at a certain time, which can also be viewed in the Gantt view, which I'll show you afterwards. And of course, you can also, in the future, also add the different costs that you have regarding the project as well. That's something that my colleague will show you in much more details in the future. So first of all, because we all work in different industry, we need to choose one at least for today to do our presentation. And in my case, I choose an industry which I think most people will go through, hopefully just once in their life, which is weddings. And this time we're all gonna be wedding planners here. And let's just hope that everything will go much better than in the GIF. As a wedding planner, I have two types of project that might happen. Of course, the first one is the wedding itself, which I need to organize from A to Z, which is what we call a client-based project. It's a long project with different tasks, a lot of employees working on it as well. That takes time, of course. The second thing is, for example, even though I'm a wedding planner, sometimes they just ask me to do photography, or sometimes they just ask me to do one specific task, which is one of my services. If that is the case, the project will be done differently, where you will have every one of your clients within the same projects, but you can move those around quite easily there. But instead of talking, let me just show you how it will look like, and let's hope you like it as well. So here you can see the different applications that I've installed here. I'm just going to explain what each of them do, of course. Project will be used to have your project management applications, of course, with the different tasks and the Kanban view. We will also have the timesheet, which will be helped here to put the numbers of hours that every employee has spent on a specific project or a specific task. And finally, we also have the document application, which is quite interesting. Any document that you want to share within the project, or any document that you want to attach to a specific project, can be put there, and then that's something you can, of course, share to your final client at the end. Perfect. If that is the case, let's just go to the employees, and then we're going to go within the project. In the employees, there are specific things that you can set up. For every one of your employee, you can, of course, set up a cost. That is the cost that will be inputted within the project, so that you know, because I cost 100 euros per hour, sorry, and I spend four hours on the project, then the cost will be 400 euros, of course. And those are things that we can automate with Odoo just by people timesheeting their work. So let's directly go into the project, and let's go a little bit more in details about the client-based projects. So here, I'm still a new company. I only handle 2 marriages. As you can see, Julia is the 4th time that she does a marriage with me. And that's something that I can handle from here quite easily. But I also have John, which is his first marriage. So I'll try to give him a little bit more extra care. So let's go into John. What are the different activities that are possible? Well, as you can see, there are different activities that are already set up, such as the setup activity. Within that activity, I can assign one or many employees quite easily. And I can also create what we call subtask. Okay? All of that can be, will help you, of course, within your projects, because that's how you can make a better estimation of the numbers of hours needed. Let's say instead of 40, I think I will need 50 hours. That's also where your employees will be able to timesheet, of course. So me, I'll be Mitchell admin here. I'd say I spent 3 hours on it, and it will be for the research, for example. This part will be visible for the client for free because you have the project application. Okay, so there's a certain type of transparency here that Odoo offers as well on both ends. If transparency creates trust, that can only be helpful for your business later on. The other thing that you can see as well here is that everything that I do within Odoo is updated here. Okay, meaning that if I were to make any changes, whether it's me or any other employee, it will also be shown there. It can be quite helpful here, whether it's for GDPR reasons or also for transparency between employees. And of course, let's say something were to happen within this activity, I can just write the notes here. That is always helpful for one big reason. I might not always be available for the task or for the project, and someone needs to take over, whether it's Matilda here or Mark Demo. Now, I can also schedule activities for myself or for another employee quite easily as well. So, for example, I know that Matilda has some time, so I'll ask her to call the client. Perfect. And because I did that, I just added an activity for her in 2 days. When you start the day, usually what will happen is that you will click on this button to see all of the tasks that you have, whatever the application it is. That will help you be even more organized in the future as well. The other thing that you will be able to do, because I put already all the dates, I put the deadlines, of course, and as you can see, I also put the numbers of hours allocated. I can have a nice Gantt view, which is a nice visual of all those activities in a calendar view. So here, for example, we have Mitchell admin. He's already working 126 hours this month. So these are all the employees that you see on the left. And here are all the tasks. But here we can see also there are some discrepancies regarding those. The first discrepancy is the fact that, for example, here, Mitchell has 2 tasks to be done, at the same period, which can happen. But for him, it will be a little bit difficult right now because he already has a lot on his plate. So I can easily click here, up, and move it around. By the way, this task cannot be done before this one, which is why it was in red. So I can just move it to another date quite easily here. The other thing that can also be done, as you can see, we can move things around depending on the availability of each person, of course, and then it will affect the rest of the map. You will also see what we call the milestones, which is quite easy to create. For example, here I put a milestone here where the preparation phase, so the setup needs to be done, but also here where we need to discuss with the couple. Perfect. So regarding those, everything that is done within the project will be updated here in the project updates. And that's what we showed you before in the PowerPoint. So you can have different updates that you can do. For example, if something went wrong, I can just write issue here, and I can tell my manager it's something at risk. We're losing our progress, so I can just put a certain progress here and write things down. As you can see, Odoo here will automatically add different information, such as my milestones. But if there are hours that you want to invoice, it will also be shown here. If we had the accounting, for example, you could have seen your margin, how much cost you have up until now, and with the budgeting as well. Perfect. Now that I've done that, of course, that will update the project itself. And so if I go to the project view in general, you will see that it's still at risk. Now, on your right, what do you see? You see many things. First of all, you see the milestones, very important, which is the different deadlines that I have regarding this project, which you could invoice if you have the sales application as well. The other thing that you will also see is the different tasks that you have allocated for this project, the satisfaction of your client. For now, I'm doing quite a very bad job, so it's still 0%, but let's hope it gets better before the marriage. And I can also see all of the documents that were shared within the project. Everything is centralized, so that me as a director, I click here, I have all the information needed, and I can also decide to share that afterwards to my client if need be. So I can just click here, choose my client from here, and generate the link, of course. Perfect. So that was how a client-based project will be done on Odoo. Let's now do the second project, which is more a service-based project. How does it look like within Odoo? It's quite simple. Every client will have their own task, as you can see here. We have one for Thelma, one for Amy, and they will go quite easily from one stage to another. You can also do some automation, meaning that if someone goes to a specific stage, let's take the editing, for example, we can send them a specific email. We can ask them to do a waiting, for example, and this will be another email, for example, and we can also ask them to send an SMS. That can be done automatically if you wanted to. So here, for example, I have this with Amy. I go to editing, and you can see all the emails that were sent here. Of course, these are not real emails, which is why it's in red, which can also be a good indicator to call the client and say, okay, I have an issue with your email address. Can you maybe help me out? Now, let's go to the timesheet and see how we can use it, of course. Let's imagine that today I had to travel somewhere, like I had to travel to France, and I don't really have much time. I need to timesheet something quickly. I can easily go to timesheet, whether it's on my phone or tablet as well. It works the same way. I can easily choose the project from here, which is John Marriage, choose the task itself, which is this one, and do a little description. I was in the train, but I'm doing some research now. Traveling. And if I were to close it, because of the way I did my settings, it will always be 15 minutes. But those are things that we can modify, of course. So from here, you can easily see that it was added. John Marriage. There we go. And I can always change it. Of course, you have that flexibility. Now, you might want something more having a report of all of the things that were timesheeted by every project Quite easily here, you can see the different reports by employee, task, and project. Let's click on the projects here. For John, we can see that we already spent 13 hours, but now I want to see which employee is doing that as well. So that's something we can do as well. Perfect. So it's mostly Audrey and myself here. Now, all of those reportings can be quite useful for you, of course. Just know that we can also make a dashboard, which can be quite useful with all of those different reports in one page, which can be used by your managers later on. So today, what did we see? We saw how to create projects for every client. We also saw how to create services for your clients as well. We saw the different reporting possible on Odoo in a quick manner. And we also saw how to timesheet as well. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to tell me, and I'll be available for the Q&A that happens just now. Thank you very much, guys. don't hesitate to click on this pad, so the QR code, and we're ready to answer any of your questions right away.
Hi, I will come with you. We have a few questions concerning the gun view chart.
Yes.
Is there a Gunshot view with the complete portfolio of project and the different stages to follow up on the complete portfolio, like a roadmap view?
That is indeed possible. You can have a project view, well, a view for every project instead of just one. It's just that you will do it from here, for example. So this is the normal Gantt view, but that is for a specific project. But you can also just see all of the tests that you have to do for all of the projects as well, and have the Gantt view for those as well.
I will have to filter a bit of the question. We have quite a lot. So
Sure.
can you organize document shares into folders?
Yes, you can. So you can easily create specific folders that you want to assign to specific project, and you can also create subcategories. So for example, here I have my project Fourth Marriage that was created automatically by Odoo. If I want to create a subcategory, that will be possible, and we can also play with the tags that are specific to that project as well. Indeed.
Can you hide a task from being visible by a customer, like an internal task related to a project? I'm not
That is a very good question. That is something I'll need to check. I'm not sure. But I think all of the tasks are visible from what I remember, but I'll double check and I'll show you the answer later on. I'll be maybe in a booth later on.
Is the the Kanban view of all projects, is it manageable by a specific team?
In what way?
I am not sure.
If you meant creating tasks for different projects at once, that's totally possible. You can have a team organizing those tasks, whether it's for one specific project or many of them. That can be quite easily done in the Gantt view, which I showed before.
So how do you handle a change request to an existing task? For example, I need to sell some more hours of service to an existing task, which was originally sold on a previous order.
There are many things you can do. You can either, if you made the sales directly on Odoo, change the numbers of hours needed, or if you don't, at least send an email to the client, because at the end of the day, he will still be invoiced for those hours, if you decide to, of course.
Can we link some project directly from opportunities?
Those projects are linked through sales. So if the opportunity becomes a contract and you sign that contract, then it becomes a project. But it needs to have sales here.
Thank you. I have a question. I'm not sure it's directly related to the project, but what about the size of the limit of the size of emails sent? And is it their limit? I don't know. I don't think it's more like a technical question.
That's a more technical question. We didn't see any limit yet, but that's something they need to try it on their own.
Can you assign a project automatically based on location or any other aspect?
We can assign tasks automatically based on what type of employee it is. So those are different possibilities, of course. If you have the planning, you can directly plan for X numbers of hours for the caterers, if you have any. But for the project, no. You cannot automatically assign based on region, for example.
Okay. I think we are going to have to stop with the question.
That's a pity.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you, guys.